You ever seen a baby fall out of a skyscraper window, only to be gently caught in a microwave midair by a man moving slower than your Wi-Fi during a thunderstorm? No? Then congratulations, you didn't watch The Flash, but we did. And that was just the beginning. Because what if I told you the greatest threat to our favorite superheroes isn't a cosmic villain, a multiverse collapse, or a giant skybeam? It's bad CGI. We're talking rubber-faced babies, Zoom call floating heads, Snapchat filter supervillains, and of course, Henry Cavill's upper lip getting Thanos snapped out of existence. So buckle up, we're diving headfirst into the uncanny valley, and trust us, it's uglier than you remember. Welcome to the Hall of CGI Shame, where million-dollar pixels go to die and your disbelief refuses to be suspended. Let's start with the new king of catastrophe. It opens with a hospital collapsing, and Barry Allen forced to save a dozen newborn babies mid-air. Now in your head, that sounds epic. In execution, it's like someone dared the VFX team to make it look as cursed as humanly possible. The babies, they look like off-brand Sims characters halfway through rendering. One is visibly blinking with zero motion as it floats by a flying scalpel. Other is being saved in a microwave. Meanwhile, the Flash is speeding around the room like he's figure skating on maple syrup. It's like watching a PlayStation 3 cutscene if that cutscene were left in the oven too long. And the worst part? They defended it. It was supposed to look like that, said the director. Bro, even The Sims 2 had better expressions. And then there's the granddaddy of digital disasters, Superman's mustache. In 2017, Henry Cavill was mid-shoot for Mission Impossible Fallout when Justice League called him back in for reshoots. Problem? He had a glorious contractual mustache. Paramount said no to shaving it off. So Warner Bros. Thought, we'll fix it in post. What we got was a Superman who looked like his upper lip had been possessed by Voldemort. Every time he spoke, his mouth moved like it was on a separate timeline. It had that weird, uncanny wobble, like it was so distracting that you forgot what he was saying. Forget Lex Luthor, that lip was the real villain. Then there's Thor Love and Thunder, where VFX crimes reach new heights. Literally. You remember that floating head of Heimdall's son? It looked like someone FaceTimed in from a Nokia during a solar flare. Just hovering there, perfectly out of sync with reality. Marvel somehow made a god's child look like he was photoshopped in during lunch break. Moving on to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, or as I like to call it, Honey, I Shrunk the Budget. This movie was 90% green screen and 10% sheer confusion. MODOK. Marvel Studios took one of the most bizarrely intimidating comic villains and turned him into a stretched Instagram filter with the emotional range of a melted wax figure. The face is unnaturally wide, the skin texture looks like it's covered in plastic wrap, and the eyes, dear God, the eyes look like they're begging for help. You can actually see Corey Stoll trying to act through the bad VFX like he's being held hostage inside a screensaver. And don't think we forgot about Black Panther. A great film, but that final fight between T'Challa and Killmonger looked like two rubber action figures getting into a slow-motion slap fight on a PS3 loading screen. Cats. Ah, yes. The movie that made audiences ask, why does Judi Dench have human hands but fur feet? This wasn't CGI, it was a visual crime scene. This isn't just a few hiccups, this is a pattern. A very expensive meme-worthy pattern of studios saying, they won't notice, we did, and we screenshotted it. Somewhere in a dimly lit Hollywood boardroom, a studio exec once uttered the most cursed phrase in filmmaking history, we'll fix it in post, and thus began the VFX apocalypse. Let's talk about how this single sentence has destroyed budgets, broken visual effects teams, and left audiences staring at CGI so rough it might still be in beta. The Flash reportedly spent over $200 million, yet somehow looks like a TikTok filter ran out of RAM. But here's the truth, no amount of post-production wizardry can save a rushed timeline. The studios are setting impossible deadlines, giving VFX artists just weeks to finish effects that normally take months. Remember Thor Love and Thunder? In one scene, Heimdall's son appears as a floating head in space, FaceTiming Thor. It was pixelated, glitchy, and weirdly cropped like someone didn't know how to resize in Premiere Pro. It felt more like a meme than a moment of emotional storytelling. VFX houses are burning out, overworked, underpaid, and expected to do miracles under unrealistic pressure. The result? Half-baked CGI slathered onto scenes that weren't even blocked properly. Think of it like building a mansion on a foundation made of jelly. It will collapse and we all get to witness it in 4K. Even Marvel, once the gold standard of slick visuals, started slipping into a ship now, patch later mindset. VFX artists who worked on recent projects like She-Hulk and Quantumania have spoken out. They didn't have time. They didn't have clear direction. This isn't just about visuals, it's about how post-production has become a crutch. Directors shoot without planning, trusting VFX to save the day. But here's the thing, CGI isn't magic, it's craftsmanship. And when you give a craftsman a week to carve a masterpiece, you end up with a half-finished statue wearing a green screen cape. It's not we'll fix it in post, it's we'll regret it in theaters. Let's talk trends. Not TikTok dances or AI-generated Drake songs,
With my ex like Celine.
but the disturbing patterns in modern filmmaking that are turning blockbusters into digital dumpster fires. Trend number 1. The CGI slather. Why build a set when you can just drown your actors in green paint and hope for the best? You can practically see the actors squinting at a tennis ball on a stick and pretending it's a flaming alien warlord. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania took this to god-tier levels. The entire quantum realm looked like a default screensaver that came with Windows Vista. Characters were just floating, talking, existing in digital soup. At one point, it felt like Scott Lang was trapped inside an iPad. Trend number 2, rubber physics and weightless worlds. CGI has forgotten the most basic law of nature: gravity. Everything bounces like it's made of jello. Remember Black Panther's final fight scene? What started as a culturally rich, grounded story ended with 2 PlayStation 2 characters slapping each other inside a collapsing train tunnel. No impact, no weight, just noodles and vibranium suits flailing midair. When CGI forgets physics, your emotional investment evaporates faster than the budget on reshoots. Trend number 3, floating heads. Marvel, we love you, but please stop turning your heroes into bobbleheads. In Iron Man 3, Tony's helmet used to mechanically fold open with weight and purpose. By Infinity War, it pixelates away like a Snapchat filter. If we wanted to see floating heads badly keyed into digital suits, we just rewatch Spy Kids 3D. Trend number 4, let's just blur it. Motion blur has become Hollywood's favorite band-aid for bad CGI. Don't want to properly animate a punch? Blur it. Can't render the background in time? Blur it. Want to hide the fact that Superman's upper lip is an abomination? Blur it out at some point. The audience isn't watching a movie, they're decoding a high-speed PowerPoint. Trend number 5, emotionless eyes and digital dead face. She-Hulk tried, but every time she smiled, it looked like someone had glued 2 emojis onto a wax sculpture. Eye contact felt like a Windows XP loading bar. We're not anti-CGI, we're anti-lazy CGI. When done right, think Avatar 2, Dune, Planet of the Apes. It's breathtaking. But when done wrong, it's the cinematic equivalent of forgetting to zip your pants at the Oscars. Alright, let's hit the brakes on the roast session, because believe it or not, when CGI is done right, it's not just good, it's magic. Let's start with the blue elephant in the room. Avatar, The Way of Water. Say what you want about James Cameron inventing new languages, cameras, and possibly time travel to make that movie, but you can't deny that it looked like the visual effects gods came down from Mount GPU and blessed every single frame. Water physics, impeccable. Lighting, glorious. Eyeballs that actually reflect emotion, revolutionary. Or take Dune. CGI that doesn't scream for attention, but blends into the world like it's always been there. Those sandworms, terrifying. The desert, real enough to make you feel dehydrated. The Secret, they mixed practical sets with digital effects, like a Michelin-starred chef balances salt and butter. No overkill, just taste. And then there's the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the holy grail of CGI motion capture. Andy Serkis didn't just play Caesar, he became him. You forgot you were watching a man in a mocap suit, because every eyebrow twitch, every snarl, every tear felt real. That's when CGI wins, when you stop thinking about it entirely. These films didn't use CGI as a crutch, they used it as a tool. They understood that technology should serve the story, not hijack it like a toddler with access to After Effects. So yes, there is hope. Good CGI exists. It's not a myth, it's not a unicorn. It's just rare, and usually comes with a director who isn't allergic to prep time and giving VFX artists more than 2 weeks in a pack of instant noodles, but enough optimism. Because the final part? It's the painful truth no one in the industry wants to admit. So how do we fix this? How do we stop CGI from looking like it was rendered on a toaster, powered by interns running on energy drinks and broken dreams? First, stop rushing. Most CGI disasters don't come from lack of talent, they come from brutal deadlines. Studios give VFX teams less time to finish a final fight scene than you give DoorDash to deliver a pizza. The Flash didn't look bad because artists didn't care. It looked bad because they didn't sleep. Delaying a film by a few months is way cheaper than being roasted on every YouTube channel for eternity. Second, pick your battles. Not every scene needs to be a digital carnival. You don't need CGI for a conversation in a coffee shop, or someone walking down a hallway. Save the big guns for the moments that deserve them. Not everything has to be a Michael Bay fever dream. Third, practical plus digital equals gold. Want to know why Mad Max Fury Road looked like it slapped harder than Thanos on leg day? Because half of it was real. Real cars, real stunts, real dirt in people's mouths. CGI works best when it's used to enhance reality, not replace it entirely. Fourth, directors know what you want. When filmmakers shoot entire scenes on green screen without locking down what they're actually shooting, the VFX team ends up playing psychic detective. That's how you get floating heads and rubber limbs. storyboards, animatics, planning. It's not sexy, but it saves lives. And pixels. Fifth, respect the artists. VFX teams aren't magic wands. They're overworked, underpaid, and constantly patching leaks on the Titanic with duct tape. Because when studios treat CGI like a serious craft instead of a post-production afterthought, the results speak for themselves. The technology is there, the talent is definitely there, now all we need is a little patience, a little planning, and someone brave enough to say, maybe we don't need to digitally erase that mustache. In the battle of art vs algorithm, CGI doesn't need to die. It just needs time to breathe. Like, subscribe, and tell us which CGI disaster lives rent-free in your nightmares. Bonus, drop a emoji if you watch The Flash and survived.